Hello students, today in this video we are going to explain the lesson the post-war world, and this is common for 10th class CBSE and the AP State Board. In the lesson we are going to learn about UNO and importantly after the Second World War. After the Second World War, what are the important political, economical, social changes are observing in the entire world in different countries? And we know, to say the example of World War II destruction, suppose we take Russia. In the country Russia only, nearly 1700 towns were destroyed. The same way, 31,000 factories were destroyed and 70,000 villages were destroyed. So this is just an example for explaining about the destruction percentage, destruction way of Second World War. And in only one country we can see the number of villages, number of towns, number of factories are damaged. And suppose Russia only tasting this type of destruction from the World War II. What about England? What about France and other remaining countries in the world? It means this is an example just to understand about the destruction of the entire countries in the world. And we know already by the Second World War, Japan was completely smashed by throwing an atom bomb of America on Japan. The cities Hiroshima and Nagasaki are totally damaged. Entire the country is also damaged by the World War II. And we know World War II was ended in 1945. After World War II, after the ending of World War II in 1945 onwards, what are the important changes observing in the world is the present lesson. And we have to know World War II afterwards, after the ending of the World War II, number of changes are immediately came into existence, and we have to know what are the important changes. One is formation of UNO, and number two is in maximum countries dictatorship, monarchy, autocracy and aristocracy, kingship. All these different ruling systems are slowly came to be and ended, and in all these systems are replaced by democracy. It means many countries are receiving the policy of democracy. Best example, our India. After the ending of World War II, within 2 years, India got freedom in 1947. Not only India, along with India, many countries also got independence after World War II. In the same way, we know the country Germany after the World War II, it was divided into two countries by the involvement of America and Russia. And by the Russia, Germany was divided into two parts, the West Germany and the East Germany. West Germany was dominated by America, whereas East Germany was dominated by Russia. And in this way, every country got damaged by the World War II. And we have to know among all these changes, UNO was formed in 1945. Now also it is working successfully, and many systems of the world countries are changed, and they are taking and following now democracy. And Second World War was over, but the Second World War created tensions still not 100% completed, not 100% removed. In the minds of many countries, still the fear is existing, still the fear we have been observing. And as the fear, many countries, they are commenting for their self-protection in order to save their countries. Still, some countries are not following properly the orders given by UNO. And before to know how they are violating the countries, violating the orders of UNO, we have to know first about UNO. We know already United Nations Organization is the full form of UNO, and it was proposed by F.D. Roosevelt. F.D. Roosevelt, the former president of America, who proposed UNO, and in the beginning 1945, when it was proposed, it had 54 member countries, and in the year of 2014, the number of member countries has been increased to 193. The 193rd country is South Sudan, and approximately 200 countries have taken membership in UNO. And it is seeming that compared to the previous International Peace Organization, League of Nations, and we can give more importance to UNO, because if we compare League of Nations and UNO, League of Nations was proposed by Woodrow Wilson, the same American former president. But after the formation of League of Nations, the highest number of member countries was only 58 in the year of 1934. But after formation of UNO in 1945, after the end of World War II, still 70 years, more than 75 years, still there is no third World War. It means after the end of World War, after the formation of League of Nations, within 20 years again the world tasted one more war, that was the Second World War. But after the end of the Second World War, the ideas of the countries and the attitude of the countries, all these are underwent into rapid changes. Many countries they began to concentrate how to develop their countries. Instead of spending more money on wars or war weapons, warheads and armistice and armaments, they wanted to think how to develop their country, how to implement the welfare fruits to all the people. That is why many countries are concentrating, and in these 70 years after the formation of UNO, many countries are slowly developing. Some countries are fastly developing. Some poor countries also now are considered as rich countries. Example, China, Korea, Singapore. We see all these countries 50 years back, 60 years back, very less population and less resources, less development also. Now we can't imagine the development of all these countries. And including India, our India also one of the fast developing countries. Of course, the world comprising three type of countries, you know very well: underdeveloped, developing and developed countries. And in the second category, developing countries, our India falls in this second category. But in these developing countries also, we can say that India is the one of the fast developing countries in the world. And we see UNO was formed in 1945 with 54 member countries. Now what are the aims of UNO? UNO, after the formation of UNO, it released its aims. Of course, UNO aims, League of Nations aims, both are approximately same, because in place of League of Nations, actually UNO is occupying the League of Nations place. It means League of Nations, UNO is replaced actually in place of League of Nations. And UNO has some important aims. After the failure of League of Nations, when it was approximately an international organization which is not in a position to take any action on the countries, and it identified during the World War II time, League of Nations was identified as an inactivate organization. In that exact time, after the ending of the World War II, in place of League of Nations, many countries heads proposed one more international peace organization. We called it as UNO, United Nations Organization. And the aims of United Nations Organization we are going to learn. One is reduce the warfare among the countries, because many countries after the World War II also, they are not free from the fear created by Second World War. That's why it is the responsibility on the shoulders of UNO in order to decrease and providing safety and security to all the countries, to all the country people. That's why reduce the fear created by the war. Reduce the warfare was aim. And number 2, maintain friendly relationship. Maintain friendly relationship with all the countries is one more important aim, because as long as all countries are sharing their views and they are developing the friendly relationship, then only the all countries are in safe side. It means encouraging the involvement of one country in others and unnecessarily occupying of one country by others is not recommended by UNO. That's why UNO is saying what? One side, every country has to protect their integral territorial areas. Other side, they have to continue their friendly relationship with their neighboring countries and other countries in the world. And number 3, UNO also has the aim to develop all the nations based on equality. Suppose we take about the equality concept, it is clearly appear there is a lot of gap between the poor countries, poor economic countries and rich economic countries. That's why we have to bridge the gap between very poor to rich countries. How it is possible? As the international organization, UNO definitely has to take some developmental steps, welfare steps, and give that all facilities to the poor countries. Of course, it is giving. By the cooperation of UNO only, many countries are approaching towards a developmental way. That's why developing all the countries, what is the basis for development? Equality. Because without equality, it is difficult to maintain friendly relationship among the countries. That's why we are trying to improve the friendly nature, friendly culture, friendly relationship among the different countries in the world. And the same way, the fourth one is the disarmament. Disarmament. Maximum countries in the world, they tested World War I, World War II. And by this World War I, World War II, what we learned? Many countries damaged in the World War I, World War II. And we know many countries, they had taken more than some countries 10 years, some countries 20, some countries 25, some countries 30 years also. Time was taken by the countries for their recovery from the loss created by World War II, World War I. That's why no country, I think no country is ready to take one more time heavy loss by involving in the World War III. That's why every country is doing its responsibility towards maintaining peace. How it come? How can we maintain peace? Can we create peace among the countries? It is possible only by reducing army, reducing the armed weapons. Reducing armed weapons is called disarmament, a policy. So a policy of not to prepare weapons and destroying the existed weapons is coming under the policy called disarmament. That's why UNO is following disarmament policy and advised to all the countries also to follow disarmament policy. Disarmament means not to prepare weapons and destroy the harmful weapons. And of course, though UNO advised the disarmament policy, no country in the world is accepting to destroy the 100% weapons, because to protect the territorial integrity, to protect their safety and uh, their integrity, it is compulsory of providing some army force in their country. That's why every country has some limited number of army and weapons. Of course, though they have weapons, no country should use these weapons for war actually. And that is disarmament policy. Number 5 is what? Give the international cooperation. It means extend international cooperation among the countries on the issues of education, science, technology, and business, trade, commerce, and political affairs. In all these events, definitely one country has to share its innovations, ideas to other countries. That's why whenever the countries are sharing their business, trade activities and involving in other countries' issues and help them, then only it is possible in creating an international atmosphere, friendly atmosphere among the countries. So now that's why we are able to get success in getting business trade relationship with many other countries. It means now because of this international relationship only it is possible of extending trade and technological achievements and selling and purchasing articles, goods. All these activities are going on by only giving international cooperation among the countries. And the last one, preserving world peace. Because by following all these principles, the ultimate goal of the countries is, ultimate goal of the UNO is what? Preserving world peace. As long as all the countries are following all these principles, so definitely it is possible of creating peace among the world countries. Luckily, we can say definitely UNO is working successfully, because 70 years back it was established in 1945, October 24th, New York as the capital. New York is its capital, located in America, and it is successfully moving and treating with all the countries. And in our next video we are going to learn what are the associative organizations, principal organizations of UNO, and about the remaining topics. Thank you for watching.